Hola, hola, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make sure I get my sound up. All right. It is SEG 13. Oh, dang, I didn't even check to make sure and check my teeth. Make sure I didn't have nothing in my teeth. But welcome, welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking about these. I'm going to wait a little bit, let some people start coming in. I'm a little bit early because I don't like being late. I like being on time, and usually when you're on time, that means you're late. So I like to be a little early. But today we are going to be talking about Orgone Energy Batteries. So I will show you some of the pieces that we will be talking about today. Orgone Energy Batteries, what they are and how to use them. And I'm going to be also talking about how to make them, because it's important that we know how to do this science. It's actually an old science, an ancient science. So we're going to give people some time to come in before I get to talking. In the meantime, I will show you some of my selections. I wish I could play some music, but all the time I play music on Facebook, they delete my videos. They don't let me play my videos. So I will not be playing any music today. And I got a lot of requests for this informational today, but this is my first time doing a broadcast in a secret group. People were telling me to tag them. I don't know how to tag everybody that that was on there. So hopefully you'll be able to get a chance to see it. If you can't see it, if you're not seeing it live, you'll be able to watch the replay later. I believe that is how it works. I would like to thank Terrain, aka Dark Lord, for allowing this broadcast to happen here today. I have been enjoying very much being part of the royal bloodline. This family is serious, and it was one of the reasons why I'm doing this broadcast here today, because there's so many people that are interested in this work, which is our work. It's part of, our history, is part of what our ancestors came here to do. And now that we are, those of us that are here in the flesh, it's time for us to finish the work that they started. So I'm not going to wait too much longer. I'm going to go ahead and get started. You know what? It's not even 6 o'clock yet, and I told everybody 6 o'clock, so I'm going to be patient. And while I am being patient, I will show you some of my creations. This is an Orgone Energy Pyramid. Hola, hola, welcome. And this pyramid is pretty complex. I'm going to tell you guys the story, too, of how I got into it. It's telling me my connection is weak, so hopefully you guys are able to see. You guys are able to see it. I've been making Orgone Energy Batteries since 2011, when I first got introduced to Orgone Energy. It was because we were trying to find a way for protection. My husband wanted to protect the family, and we started looking into, reptilians and all kinds of different things that are going on. And this was, back 6 years ago. So Orgone Energy was one of the things that came up. And Orgone Energy, for those of you that don't know, Orgone is something that exists naturally on the planet. If you go on a spaceship and you look just at the earth, there is a blue layer that's over the earth, over the planet, and it's called Orgone. And the person who actually coined the term Orgone was Wilhelm Reich. He was a German guy that started doing orgone accumulators. Sex boxes is what they call them, because orgone is for orgasmic energy, and it is from the word orgasm. So that is what it is. Orgone energy is life force, prana, chi, and it's encapsulated now in these devices. What happens is, when you take metals, crystals, and resin, you blend it together, And the resin, as it dries, it squeezes the energy out of the metal and out of the crystals, out of the stones, and creates what's called a scalar wave. A scalar wave is a multi-dimensional energy. Hola, Morris. It's the multi-dimensional energy that moves faster than the speed of light. So it's always working and it's constantly transforming. And this is some really serious energy, because when Wilhelm Reich started working with it, he was taking people and he was putting them in this box of organic and inorganic materials, and he was curing people of all kinds of disease, melancholy, diabetes, cancer, all kinds of different disease. And so he took his information to the FDA. And what do you think happened when he took that information to the FDA? FDA was like, oh, hell no, we are not going to be curing people and lose the money that's out there with medicine and these doctors. So what they did is they took all of his findings, they trashed them, even though they didn't trash them, they kept it, but they threw him in jail. So he was in jail. He actually died in jail, and his partner died. Yeah, they shut it down. Hola, Negashi. They shut it down with a quickness. And so all of this information started resurfacing again when the internet came to play. And there was a gentleman by the name of Carl Hans. Carl Hans coined the term Orgonite, and he started creating smaller devices like this. He took what Wilhelm Reich was doing in the orgone accumulators, and he started taking these devices and making them smaller, and he called it Orgonite. So FYI, anybody that's using these and is naming their things Orgonite, you don't want to do that, because he's copywritten the word, and anybody that uses the word Orgonite for their devices and is making money, he's going to come after your money. So you want to, the word orgone, you could definitely use that, but you want to be creative with it and just not use the term Orgonite. But if you research Orgonite, Orgone Energy Devices, they're all essentially the same things. And how you create them is you create them in layers. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how you create them. But let me tell you first a little bit more about what it is and what they are. Carl Hans discovered that having these mobile, having them in devices like this is going to be more beneficial for people to carry it with them. Because one of the things that, hola Carrie, one of the things that that Orgone Energy does is it completely transform EMF radiation, digital pollution, toxic pollution, chemtrails that they be spraying in over the skies. If you have Orgone Energy, it's not going to touch you. A piece like this will create about a 12 feet of protection, where anything that comes into your space is going to be immediately transformed from negative energy to positive energy. So that's what the Orgone Energy Devices does. But Carl Hans wasn't the first one to discover it. Wilhelm Reich was not the first one to discover it. The first people that were using orgone were the Egyptians. If you know about the mummification process, in the mummification process, they use crystals, they use metal particles, and they use all of that to wrap the bodies, to mummify the bodies. And a lot of people thought that it was just to keep the bodies intact. But that's not what it was for. It was also so that they could travel in other dimensions. It keeps a clear space, and they were able to reincarnate. They were able to give information. All of this because of the Orgone energy that they already knew about way back in the day. So now it's coming back, and going back to how it came to me. When I started working with Orgone, hola terrain. And once again, thank you so much for letting me do this informational here. When I started working with it, we ordered some. We ordered some basic tower busters. And tower busters are just like aluminum and crystals and brass. And you put them in a little like a muffin tin. And when they were coming, I felt the energy coming in the mail. Like I felt it before it was even here. And for me, that was a huge deal, because I'm one of those people that it's like, I'm not going to believe nothing unless I feel it, unless I experience it firsthand. And when I felt that energy, it was undeniable. And it's like something took over, and I had this deep desire to make it. So I started doing my research. And when I started creating, it was like just being in in another world. It was like I was zoned out and I knew exactly what to do. I started using stones that were going to be benefiting me, but I didn't even know it at the time because I wasn't familiar with crystals. I wasn't like the person that I am now. Nothing to completely different than I was 6 years ago. And it all started because of the orgone. So what happened with me is when I started making it, it started clearing space. It started bringing up things that I needed to remember. It started healing me from the cellular level. And that for me was amazing because it was something that I was not expecting. I was just thinking, okay, these are things that we could have around the house and keep them for protection, but I had no idea it was going to take me as deeply as it took me. All of the information that I'm sharing with you in terms of the ancient Kemet and what they used to use, all of this information came to me through the orgone. I stayed away from books. I didn't read any books about it. I wanted to really test this information and what was happening. And so the first pieces that I was making was pieces like this, the pyramids. And a pyramid is the strongest geometric shape. And so the orgone energy in the pyramids is, I mean, it's super powerful. I mean, you could see as I switch it, I don't know if you could feel the energy over there, but I feel the energy. And so when this energy started coming in, it was clearing pathways. Hola, Ronnie. It was clearing, hola, Michelle. It was clearing pathways so that I would be able to start seeing things clearly. It was information that was just coming directly through the work that I was doing. And it was coming in through my dreams. And it just completely took me over. And I was on a roll. I just kept making it and kept making it. And so many different things started becoming very apparent to me. My name, what I call myself, is Sex Energy Goddess 13. Sex Energy Goddess, a lot of people think, oh, it's porn, it's about sex. No. This is sexual energy. This is chi. This is life force. This is orgasmic energy. And Sex Energy Goddess is who I've been for many, many lifetimes. And this is information that I didn't know until I started working with these tools. And when I started working with these tools, I had lots and lots of revelation in terms of sexual energy and how powerful it is, and what the sex goddesses would do with this energy and how they would use it. And so this information started coming to me, and I started translating it into these devices. This is a wand right here, and this is a wand that glows in the dark, and yes, it represents the phallus, so it is a phallus symbol. Whenever you have these like this and these symbols, they have more power. The shape that you create them in is going to exude a different kind of energy, a different kind of power. So when I started working with them, it was so deep to where I was in a relationship for 26 years, and that relationship had to separate in order for me to do my self-work, my self-healing. And it was something that was very powerful because I had to learn how to work with my sexual energy, with my own sexual energy. And I had to learn how to harness it and be able to utilize it. And I know that it was the ancestors and my divine guides that made that separation happen. We ultimately came back together. So Ache to the warrior, he's still in the picture. But it was something that was really intense for me because the lessons that I was getting was all spiritual, was all metaphysical. It was me, myself, and Most High, and all of the divine guides that kept coming in, giving me information. I would ask questions, and I would get the answers to them. And it was an awakening for me that I never thought would happen because I didn't know that that's who I was. And I started getting memories of things that, where were these memories coming from? And it was all happening because of the orgone energy. Orgone energy has been introduced in this lifetime now, has been reintroduced because, I don't know if you guys know, I think you guys have an idea, but they're trying to kill us. Like, they don't want melanated people to be around. They don't want us to recognize our power. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful and thankful for this group, because this is the truth, this magic, this spiritual energy that happens, these awakenings that are happening. This is real stuff that's happening. And all of the things that they're doing with the chemtrails and the GMOs and all of these different poisons, the vaccinations, all of these things are happening because they want us to stay asleep. I didn't know I could take calls right here, and I was going to do that for Q&A, but I'm not going to do that right now. Um, Hola Sasa, hola Goddess Wave. So, so Orgone Energy is something that is coming now to the people so that we're able to defend ourselves and to protect ourselves from all of these things that are happening. But not just protect ourselves, but be able to reach in and find our gifts. We have all been here many, many lifetimes. This is not your first time here. And these lifetimes, us having recognition and being able to remember them is highly important, because all of the things, all of the abilities, all of the gifts that we've had in other lifetimes, we're able to access them in this lifetime now so that we could use it to move forward and progress to where it is that we need to be, what it is that we need to do, continuing the legacy, building our empires. All of these things are of extreme importance, and Orgone Energy plays a huge part in that, because this is our science. This is a science that we've used so that we can come and do this here now. And so I am my ancestors. So I am coming as, an ancestor and sharing this information with anybody that wants to know it so that you guys could do it too. Let me move in a little bit to the making of the Orgone Energy devices. You can go to Michael's and get cast in clear resin, and that's if you want to get like the real clear resin. It's going to cost about $30 for a pint, but you can make a few pieces with that. So, and you can also get metals, and you can get any kind of metals. I use a lot of copper. Copper is a great conductor, and it is the goddess metal, so I definitely use copper quite a bit. But you could use gold, you could use brass, you can use iron, and you can get these from, like, you can go to a break shop and ask them for iron filings, and iron filings are very, very powerful, and they'll give you the iron. So you could pretty much get what you need, locally in your local area. I recommend that whatever stones you get, that they're stones that you're feeling, that you're touching, that are speaking to you, that you're feeling a connection with. And when you're making the Orgone Energy devices, I don't have any videos of me making it. It's my sacred time. I don't play around. So I have not done that. I have a way that I do it, and that's not something that I wish to share, because that is it is information that I've earned. And so it is not something that I can just tell everybody, oh, do it like this. But it definitely has to do with your own energy and being able to infuse your energy in whatever device that you're making. Now, let me just say that no matter who makes it, the formula of what it is, it's always going to work. As long as you are layering inorganic and organic materials, and you're using metals and resin and crystals. Crystal quartz is definitely an important part of it. Like, if you're making it with other stones, that's great, but crystal quartz is an essential part of making Orgone Energy devices that have high vibrations. So you definitely want to use crystal quartz in them. So when you're making them, you can use any mold, and you can get molds online. You can get molds at Michael, any mold that you want to use to make them. And you make them by layers. So you'll put one layer of the resin, and then you put your crystals and your stones in it, and then you add another layer. So you want to do it in layers. One thing that a lot of people that make Orgone devices is they'll put all of the resin in the mold, and then they'll just bunch all their stuff in there. That's not, I don't really like to tell anybody what to do, because I don't like nobody telling me what to do. But there is a way to do it, and layers is an essential part of it. So when you create a pyramid like this, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's in layers. It's in layers. So that is it's an essential part of creating the right formula in Orgone. So you want to take your time doing it. It's going to take about 8 to 12 hours, depending on what it is that you're making and how many pieces that you're making. And I will tell you one other little secret that a lot of people don't use. Every piece that I use the sun. I am an elemental. I definitely know the power of the elements, and the sun is no joke. So when you're using the sun, you're going to give that solar energy to your pieces. So it's very important to use the sun. I only make Orgone pieces seasonally, when I am called to do it. So I'm not really one that you can contact just because you want a piece, because if it's not time for me to create it, I'm not going to be able to do it. But going back to just making them, if you can also, I would practice with a cheaper resin that you could get maybe at Home Depot. They have an amber resin that you can get a whole gallon for $30. You can get a whole gallon of it, and you can use that. And with the resin, it's a resin and a catalyst, and the catalyst is what makes the resin hard. So you have to take your time with it, and you have to play around with it, because it takes practice in order for you to get the formula right. But for me, it was something that was very instinctual. And when I would create them, I would ask the ancestors, and I would ask for my divine guides to guide me on what it is that they needed me to do, what it is that they wanted me to do. Morris says, I love my orgone. A friend told me that he could feel me 2 blocks away. That is how powerful these pieces are. These pieces are very, very powerful. And this is one of my favorite wands. This is a wand that I made way back in the day. It's not really as straight. It broke one time and I had to put it back together. But yes, these, you can send lots of energy out with your wands. You can use them in your bed. You can use them for massages. You can use them for all kinds of different things. But when you're making them, it is really important for you to have the right intention when you're creating. I will say that for people that are interested in making these, it is a huge industry that is growing. And it is growing because when people feel it, they know it. It's not really something that you have to try to sell. I don't sell to everybody. Whoever's supposed to come to me, that's who comes to me. And this is actually my last couple of months where I'm distributing them, because right now I'm working on creating an Orgone Energy Self-Healing Center. And this is a space where people are going to be able to come in, and they're going to be able to work with this energy. They're going to be able to step inside a dome and feel the immediate healing. So I'm continuing the work of my ancestor Wilhelm Reich. So the work that he was doing, that he got killed for, I'm going to continue that work in the Orgone Energy Self-Healing Centers. And it's something that is not, people get killed for working with this. People get killed for trying to bring this information out. There's a lot of people that have been putting the information out there, that have been sharing, and they have been removed from the planet. I, however, have no fear. I ain't scared of shit. I already know why I came here, and I know that I am divinely guided and divinely protected, but I'm also not stupid. So it's not, what I'm building is not going to be for the public. Everything is private, is privately funded, and it's gonna, the people that are supposed to be there are going to be there. It is like a mystery school, because we're not just creating a center for healing, we're also creating a center for learning, where people are going to be learning the ancient formulas and the ancient secrets that have been making this world run for centuries, that nobody really talks about. I mean, a lot of people are talking about it now because we're in the information age, but there's a lot of things, there's a lot of misconceptions, and there's a lot of misinformation that's happening. And so we have to protect our information, and I am protecting it by way of creating the center, so that we have a private place that is protected, where people can come and learn and teach as well. I think I've covered on how to make it. If you guys have any questions, you can definitely ask me the questions there. I'm also thinking of doing a test to see if I take a call, and you guys maybe can call in and ask me a question that way. I'm going to go back down just to see if we have any questions so far. Tangelia Miller, I love Orgone. I have a couple of small pyramids and a palm one I carry on my body. Very important to be able to carry your Orgone on your body, because I don't know if you guys know what a smart meter is, but a smart meter is this thing that the electric company is putting in homes, and they're making it like mandatory, right? Where you have to have a smart meter in your home. These smart meters are releasing toxic energy every second. They're releasing toxic energy into your home. They're doing, when I'm telling you that they're doing anything that they can to disable us and to neutralize us, that is what they're doing. And Orgone Energy it is the one thing that they cannot combat. Like this right here, this could, if you were surrounded with orgone, none of this energy can touch you. It also works against negative people, negative entities. I have an associate that does orgone as well, and I don't know if you guys ever mess around with Ouija boards. Ouija boards Ouija boards could cause a lot of havoc. If you don't know what you're doing, you really don't want to fool around with it. But in a Ouija board, when you are summoning spirits, you are summoning spirits. You're not saying, oh, well, this spirit could come, that spirit can't come. Now, if you are a true master, you know how to, keep certain spirits away. But for the average person that's trying to work with a spirit, they're inviting a lot of energies onto them. Well, this particular person, she creates that little piece that goes on the Ouija board, and it's all orgone. So if you have orgone around, or you're creating a piece like that where it is orgone, that right there is going to eliminate any negative energies from coming into your space. It totally keeps them at bay. They cannot penetrate this force. They can't do it. So yes, if you're doing any kind of energy work, protection is important. And let me just say this about crystals, because crystals are extremely powerful, but a crystal absorbs energy and it also emits energy. And if you are around a negative individual, then those crystals are going to take on that energy. It could make a person go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But when you put the crystals inside of an orgone device, such as this, what happens is that the orgone device is transforming the energy, so it protects the stones. So you know how when somebody has a crystal, if somebody touches it, you have to cleanse it and clear it. Well, when you have it inside the orgone device, it is not going to, you don't have to cleanse it or clear it, because it's constantly doing that on its own. Now, I do lots of rituals, so I still use the moon. I take them out on full moons. I do my equinox and solstice rituals, and I use my tools, and I bring them out in the sun, and I bring them out in the moon. That's just part of my personal rituals that I do, but it's not necessary to do that in order for your piece to work. Once you create your orgone energy devices, they're going to work forever, no matter what. One of the things that I use it for, and this is very important because we got a lot of people right now that are dying in the streets, right? We got a lot of our loved ones that are transforming. One thing that I do for my loved ones that pass, I create pieces and I put it in the coffin with them. And the reason why I do that is because I don't know if you've ever heard of a place when you transform called Limbo. Well, Orgone energy clears away that limbo. I have a brother who passed away. He took his own life, and he was coming to me because he wanted help. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was that I could do for him. Then the answers told me about this and putting this energy and creating something for him. So I created something for him, and what that did was that cleared that space in the dimension that he was in. So it creates a pathway, a gateway, in order for energies to function. Because when we transform, there is no death. There is no death. Like, a person doesn't die and then it's just done and it's over. A person transforms and their souls continue. And sometimes, in the case of my brother, because he took his own life, in that time where he took his life, he created this low vibrating energy that was kind of like a jail on the other side. He took his life, so he created this space that he couldn't get out of. And so what some people would call a haunting, he was constantly coming to me asking for help. At the time, I had no idea what to do. But when I found out what I had to do and I did it, he was free. And he came back to me again, and it was the first experience that I ever had with somebody that had transformed. I'm not really going to say that it spooked me out, because I was ready for it, because it was happening, but it was the clearest message ever. And I knew that I was on the right path and doing what I was doing. I then graduated to doing, taking it a step further and using ashes in the orgone. So if you have somebody that has transformed and you have the privilege to be able to have their ashes and put them in some orgone, then what that does, it also clears portals for them, and it keeps them traveling in the dimensions, wherever it is that they're going, whatever their next incarnation or their next journey is. It makes it easier for them to navigate that path. So it is a very, very powerful tool. that, you know, all of these things that I'm telling you, it's no wonder when people start messing with it, they want to, you know, they want to kill you. They don't want you to be around. So let me go back around and Ache to my brother Lewis, Ache 13, and to my father who also has come. Since I've been working with this energy, the gifts that I've had have been undeniable. All of my life, I've been able to feel things and see things, but I wasn't trying to share that with anybody because I didn't want to be the crazy lady. And, you know, I grew up Catholic and I'm not of any religion at all whatsoever. We already know that's the program right there. But, you know, for my family, you know, they think that I'm a witch, which I won't deny. And they, you know, think all of these things that in their mind, what they have been programmed to believe is something that's negative. So when I was younger, that definitely wasn't something that I was trying to embrace. However, when I started with the working with the orgone, it was undeniable. My father came to me and my spiritual father, Ovatala, came to me as well. And so these are things that I could not deny. And this is what has kept me on the path that I'm on now and sharing this information that I share now. My biggest thing this evening is to encourage you to do it, to work with it, not just because you can make money from it, because if you're doing something just simply for the fact that you can make money from it, it's not going to work. You have to connect with the science of what it is, and you have to ask your ancestors, is this your work? Is this your path? Should you do this? And I would say anybody should do it. Just if you want to protect your home, if you want to have these things, it's important to do that. But a person definitely does have a calling to do this work, because once you start to do it, it's not going to let you go. It's going to expand you, and it's going to take you places to where you never thought you would go. And for some people, it could be quite scary. But I don't think that anybody in this group is going to be scared of that. We can't be scared of ourselves, because that's really what it is. This is part of who we are. So I'm going to go, so I'm going to go back down and take some questions. Oh, and there's lots of things that that you can do with them, that you can create with them. I created reflexology balls because I'm always working with my hands. And so this is something that I could use to keep me from having arthritis and different things. And they also could be weapons too. Knock somebody over the head. No, I'm kidding. I don't condone violence unless it's absolutely called for and necessary. All right. Gracias, Dardan. Okay. And if you guys have any questions, please. Kyle Coquet says, like a calling, only a few can pick up on. Yes, it really is, just like anything else. And we all have, the one thing that I could say about Orgone Energy is that if you have it, it's going to bring out in you whatever needs to come out. What has happened to a lot of people that have used my devices is some people can't take it. Some people can't take the energy. They're not ready to face their demons. They're not ready to face themselves. They're not ready to go into the darkness. And I'm going to keep it real. The Orgone energy is going to take you into the darkness, and it's going to show you that darkness is nothing to fear. Darkness is a part of us. As above, so below. So that devil and that angel is you. And the sooner you embrace it and are able to balance it, then you are able to really create and really make some magic happen. So even if you're not interested in making them yourself, then you still definitely should have it, and it's going to promote whatever needs to happen in you for your healing. Is going to bring it out, because it's transforming negative energy. All of the ugliness has to come out. One of the things that I had to deal with in my story, in my journey as the sex energy goddess, is the fact that sexual abuse was a very big part of my life. Sexual abuse started happening in my life way before I came here, but in this incarnation, it started at the age of 8. And that's something that I had to deal with, and I had to recognize what it was. I went through that whole process of, you know, you think, how could sexual abuse happen, you know, to somebody so young? And we always say, you know, it's a child. How can a child, you know, why would God do that or allow that to happen to a child? What it is energy. Everything is energy. And the energy that you have now, you have carried from lifetimes before. And as a sex goddess, I carried a lot of that energy into this lifetime. And that energy, it appealed to sexual predators, and all of these things had to happen in order for me to recognize who I am. So I learned to embrace the abuse. I learned to embrace the things that happened to me because I recognized that those things that happened to me was part of who I am. I needed to know that this energy that I had in me, even as a little girl, was so powerful that it was attracting, these kind of situations to me. And so through that, and I carried that my whole entire life. I was dealing with that. And, the majority of our population has been sexually abused. So we're not even going to get into that. But it's something that a lot of people, it breaks them down because there's so much guilt and there's so many things that happen once you open that Pandora's box that it's really difficult to face it in the understanding of what people are used to, of what people say, the programs that we're supposed to follow. You have to completely eliminate all of that because who you are, nobody can tell you who you are but you. And you got to know it by connecting deep within. And for me, sexual abuse was part of my path and it was part of my journey. And when I started to embrace what that was and what that meant, and I stopped being fearful of it and I stopped being ashamed of it, then I started getting more information. And so this information allowed me to expand more, but it was like going into that dark room, going into that space that I didn't really want to be in, but I had to be in it in order for me to come out of it. So I definitely work with a lot of people that have encountered sexual abuse and have dealt with sexual abuse because it is part of all of our healing. Sex is how we got here. Sex is everything. And we are it. We are sexual energy. We are sexual creative beings all the time. And so what is happening now in our planet is that our root and our sacral chakras are being blocked. They're keeping us down in the lower levels in materialism, in sex. They're drilling that in us so that we don't elevate, so that we don't evolve. And so it is very important to be able to embrace that darkness and that lower side so that you can know what it's about. And I tell you what, once you get there and you embrace that and you rise from that, you become what I like to call unfuckable. Can't nobody fuck with me because I know who I am and I know my power. I know what I can do. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go to the dark side, if I didn't go to that part of myself. So you can't be afraid of it. And, as beautiful as the pieces may be, it's some serious work and it's going to pull out some serious stuff from you. So you have to be ready to work with this energy. Real talk. You have to definitely be ready for it. Okay, so I'm going to go back down and ask you questions. Can you make any necklaces with it or crystals like talisman? Yes, I have tons of necklaces. This is I haven't strapped it yet, but this is an Orgone Energy device. I use a shell, a snail shell, because this swirl represents life. So y'all know I had to use that. And this is mahogany obsidian. I had to use that. And this is this one is for prosperity. What I did is I used shredded money, fiat notes. And this was really important for us to do. And the ancestors wanted me to do this because our people suffer from poverty mentality, poverty consciousness, and that comes from decades and eons. This has been something that has been programmed and ingrained in us forever. So I was told to create the pieces with the money in it so that we could remember that we are the currency. We are infinionaires. An infinionaire is a person that attracts wealth infinitely because they live in their passion. So I'm not concerned with money, but I attract it all the time because I know that I am the money. I am the currency. So these devices helped me with that battle because there was a time I didn't like money. I was so mad at money. I think I was mad at money because I just didn't have enough of it. So I was always mad at it. And I was mad at the people, at what people did for it. But then I had to fix that relationship that I had with money. And this was part of my healing, was to be able to start working with it and having a different perception of what it is and recognizing who I am so that now I know what it is. So yes, you can make talisman. This is another infinionaire. You can't really see the money in this one, but there's shredded money on this part here. And this is the infinionaire symbol right there that was created, inspired by the ancestors. So there's no limit to what you can do with them. I want to tell you another story about my mountings. So when I first started making it, the thing that I knew, I kept making little pieces, and I already knew that I wanted to make it so that people could wear them. But I wasn't no jeweler. I was like, I'd tie a string around it, and me being, I'm a little, I like things to look really perfect and nice and classy. So they needed to be done a certain way. So I called this friend of mine, and I was like, "Do you know a jeweler? Because I need to be able to mount my pieces, and I don't know a jeweler." And he tells me, "You are a jeweler." When he said that, I said, "I am." And as soon as I said that, I kid you not, that evening, I started creating pieces, and I started mounting them, and I started doing these, the little, the little swirls here that have been my thing forever. These little swirls. I mean, I didn't go to school for this. Nobody taught me. I tapped in to what I did in another lifetime, and I used it in this one. And this is how I know the truth about this energy and how it works. Because my background, just for you guys that want to know my background is broadcast media. I worked in the entertainment industry for over 25 years. Singer, songwriter. I worked behind the scenes, product placement, did that for over 25 years. And so making stuff like this was never anything. If you would have told me I'd have been doing stuff like this, I'd have been like, no, I don't think so. Because it wasn't in my mind to do anything like this. And so once I recognized the power that I had in just asking and connecting to that, I became like unstoppable with this, and that's why it's taking me, I create pieces, but this was just part of it. This was just like part of my awakening so I can go to the next thing. I'm not going to be the pieces that I'm going to be making. I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm graduating. I've graduated myself, and I graduate myself every couple of years. But this is some of the work that's going to be in the healing center. And I'm also going to be working with other Orgone Energy alchemists, other people. I need a lot of help. I need to be able to create cell centers in 196 countries. It's not a game. This is really, really serious. So I need a lot of help. I need magicians. I need priestesses. I need anybody that has the abilities and the power. I need your help. So this was another thing that I created, and I made this in April 2014. I'm not a painter. I never painted a dang thing in my life. So I was inspired to create this. That's me, by the way. That's the body that I desire. Let me just say that. But so I wanted to create something that was functional, that was functional for people. So I created these. So I created this, and the magic of this design is that I wanted to make something that people could work with. So I make them so that the pieces are removable, and so you can work with the pieces. And the way that you work with Orgone Energy is an energy device. So like if you want to do a cleanse or a sweep, if you're doing Reiki, all of these kind of things, you can work with this energy. So I made them removable so that you can work with them and then put them back on your painting, and you can change which ones they are. And this was just another thing that happened in my life that served as confirmation for this work that I'm doing, this information that has come through me that I had no idea I had in me. So pieces like that are gonna exist in the Orgone Energy Healing Center, and I want to show you the master pyramid. This master pyramid is very, very powerful. It's super heavy, so I'm trying to get it. I wasn't going to show y'all all that, and then I'm going to show you the magic of what happens with it. This is an 11 by 11 master pyramid. It weighs well over 30 pounds, and this is a two-person job right here. So I made this with my husband, and it also has iron, and it has the fiat notes in it as well. And so what we do, some of the magic that we do is we have this right here. This is the our intentions for the healing center. We put our intentions for the healing center over under the pyramid, and it's like a constant meditation within your intention. So you're constantly giving life force energy to your intention. And we put that in there, I think it was last year. And last year, we have gotten a group of investors that are investing in the healing centers. And so nothing happens by coincidence or by chance. I want you guys to also look up, if you haven't done any research on it, Radionics. That I just told you with the message under the orgone, that's part of Radionics. And Radionics is when you use symbols and sigils and different things to direct energy. And you could do that like, it's like, you know, when you look at somebody for a long time, you're looking at them, all of a sudden they turn around and look at you. That's Radionics. This energy that they're using all the time, like the government and stuff, they use a lot of radionics. CERN is that they're trying to create what the ancestors have created, but they're trying to do it without the spirit. They're trying to manipulate it. So what they're doing is really never going to work. I mean, it's going to have some effect, I'm sure, but they ain't got nothing on us. They really, really don't. And that's why they're so scared. And that's why they spend hundreds and thousands of dollars creating these machines to neutralize us, but it's not going to happen. So, okay, let me see. I know you guys had some more questions. So happy you're sharing this valuable information. I make Orgonite and have grid my whole house property. That is good, Rami Daina Santoso. That is fantastic. And I said it earlier in the broadcast. If you're making your pieces to sell them, do not use the word Orgonite, because Carl Hans will be after your pocket. He is getting on everybody. So do not use the word Orgonite. You can use the word Orgone, but just match it with somebody else. Like the word Orgone Energy Batteries, that's my trademark. We copyright it. So Orgone Energy Batteries is my specific pieces. But Orgone, as long as you're not using Orgonite, you'll be all right. Okay, all right, all right. Hola, Chirita. Okay, ache. Your family members. Yes, my family members, unfortunately. It's funny because I have an uncle, my father's brother, who is a santero. And I spoke to him, and he's kind of, well, the family doesn't really trip off him too much because he's been doing it for a long time. But yeah, you know, people, they discriminate. And just because you are blood related to somebody, it doesn't mean that's just your path and that's why you came. Like, I came into this, I incarnated to experience my experiences, to be completely ostracized and, you know, shunned, I guess, from my family. That was part of my path. And I loved them. I love them dearly, and I send them good energy all the time. My mom, I sent my mom a pyramid. It was a nice pyramid, too. It was a pyramid like this. She threw that shit away. She was like, I'm throwing it away. So she threw it away. She didn't even want to admit that she threw it away, but it's okay. I love her. It's wherever it's at, it's still working. It's working for somebody. That's another thing that I wanted to say, and this is what's so powerful about the Orgone too. Orgone Energy doesn't just work on me because I got it on. Orgone Energy works on me, and it works on anybody that comes in my circumference. You know, so as I'm creating them in this house is full of Orgone Energy devices. So it's benefiting my neighbors. It's benefiting the whole planet, actually. So it is a great thing, and it doesn't matter whether people are buying them or using them. As long as I'm making them, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I donate Orgonite to everyone I care for. That's great. I used to do that, and I started doing that before, but then I also learned that I had to, you can't share with everybody. But yeah, with the people that you care about, definitely. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And so for those that are able to do it and donate it, that's fantastic. That's actually how it turned into a business for me, was that we were just giving them away because we were promoting a broadcast company that we had. So we were promoting a broadcast company, we were giving them away, and people started calling and they wanted it, and so it started becoming in demand. And people ask me, do I have an Etsy store? No, I started with an Etsy store. I am not here to sell Orgone. I'm here to teach. I'm here to expand on my own path, and I don't want to give my soul to somebody just for money. I connect people with the pieces. I also have a gift of intuition. So I'm able to, if you get with me and you say you want to experience specific things, then I can create something for you that's going to be specifically for what it is that you need, for what it is that you want. So that's how it works. None of the pieces that I make are the same. And when I connect to a person, I connect to their energy, and I can connect them with what it is that they need that's going to help them elevate and expand in what it is that they're doing. So I've been asked, and I appreciate so much the people that have been wanting to sell my pieces for me, and I appreciate that. But that's not, I have no intention of having my stuff on a website so somebody could just click and get it. That's not, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If anybody, there's actually some great artists on Etsy that do that. But part of my path is to help people learn about themselves and to help people learn about their own self-healing. And it's just my opportunity to be able to do what I do. So it's just not my thing. Nakia Brown says, good evening. I was thinking of making one for my father. He passed when I was 8. He was murdered. He has several daughters. Nakia, absolutely do that for your father. You're going to be helping him, and you're going to be releasing a lot of negative energy. When somebody is murdered, that also creates another, it's like this shock that goes into the individual, and that wherever the person's mindset is during that time, that is what they create in the afterlife. So if you do that for him, you will be reconnecting him to himself through you. And you're going to be creating a space for him in these other dimensions where he'll be able to travel. And don't be surprised if you start getting dreams about him, or if he starts coming to you in other ways to confirm that, yes, this is something that you should do. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, yes, I make pieces, and I'm grateful for the aesthetic of what they are, but they don't have to look good to work. As long as you have the formulas of inorganic and organic material, and you have the right intention, then you're going to create a powerful piece. It doesn't have to look any particular way. It doesn't have to be pretty to work. So I would recommend that you definitely do that for your father. Carl says, what are the materials, tools? The materials are resin. You can pick up some resin at Home Depot, or you can pick it up at Michael's. If you want clear resin, you want to pick it up at Michael's. You're going to pay about $30 or more, or a little bit more for a pint of it. And it comes with the catalyst. And you mix the resin and the catalyst together, and the bottle will tell you exactly how much to mix. And that's what you use. And that's how you make it. You pour it, you put your metals and your crystals. You definitely need to have this, the main formula some people forget to use. Stones are great and they're fantastic, but if you're using just a stone, you're still going to be able to get some energy. It's going to be, it still will be Orgone, but when you mix them together, you are amplifying the energy of this. And you could, now if all you use is crystal, that's fine too. But don't just use stones. You must use both, or if you just want to use the crystals, this is the most important, is to use the crystal quartz. And you can get crystal quartz, well, you can get it from your local mineral stores. I don't really like to buy my stones online. I actually go out to the fields and I mine my stones and I pick them myself. So that's my thing. That's how I do it. And, it's important to me to have the right feeling, and that's why I do it. But you could find some stones online. There's lots of stone dealers. Hola, Quaniel. Hola. Nakia, it's difficult to hold his ashes to myself. Yeah, because all his energy is in there. All of his energy, the ashes of you have to think about that. The body is what holds the soul. So, and it's held that soul depending on how many how old your father was, for that amount of time. So then when you take that shell, even though the soul is no longer there, that shell is what held on to that soul. So there's a lot of that person's energy in there. You also get, when I worked with the ashes, it was very intense because I worked with the ashes and I felt the energy of this woman, and this woman was talking to me and she was telling me what to do. I ended up making two pyramids, and I made two pendants with her ashes inside, and it was just a very, very intense experience. And it gave me a lot of information. It confirmed a lot of things, and that's when I started getting the information of the Egyptians and what they did with the tombs and what they did in the mummification process and what that really meant. So yeah, the Egyptians, I mean, I think that you guys see them all around anyway. They're here, they're back. We all keep coming back. We keep coming back, and we keep coming back stronger than ever. And now, if you are existing in this time, congratulations, because there has never been a time like now. And this is the time where we get to rise. The last shall be first, and that's real. And so once you tune in, you can't tune out. Because once you tune in and you make that connection, it's like a flow of energy and information that always keeps coming. Like and you can't worry about nobody calling you crazy. You cannot worry about those things because your experience is your own, and only you can justify it. Only you can validate it. You don't need outside validation. Very important to know that, because there's a lot of energies out there that are still trying to stop this from happening. So you have some people that are saying that they are something and they are not. And you have to trust yourself and your intuition and your instincts. So, and the orgone definitely helps with that. It's going to connect you so deeply with yourself that you're going to have intuition that you didn't know that you had. It's going to start sparking up that information, because everybody has a gift. Like, nobody is that much more special than the other person. You just have some people that are aware of their abilities, and then you have others that are not aware, but everybody has a gift and an ability. Now, what that is, that's up for you. It's up to you to discover that. Sharita, hola, Cherita. My son passed away 4 years ago, and I still have his ashes. You want to work with them ashes. You want to do, and I'm sure that Terrain and some other people in this group have some information on what you could do with ashes. You could put them, I mean, there's so many different things that you could do with it. But connect to your son, because your son is still with you. And his energy is always going to be with you. So you want to consult with him what you should do or what he wants done with it. And I always recommend the Orgone because it's just so powerful. When I did the pyramids, I had like a whole box of the ashes, and I only used about a third. You don't need that much. You could do a lot with it. You don't need that much. Um, Tangelia. When I first got mine, my chest had a dense, heavy feeling, turned out a lot of blockage and trauma in my heart and throat chakras. Yes, that's exactly what it does. And, sometimes you could feel it. Oh, I didn't show you guys this one. This is my queen bee. If you guys don't know what the divine feminine energy is and what it represents, look it up because it's very powerful. When I have this in my chest, I immediately can feel my heart start beating a lot faster. I feel the energy extremely. And I'm very sensitive, so I'm sensitive, but then again I'm not, because I work so much with it that I can wear a lot of things and it doesn't mess with me. But sometimes you can overdo it, but your body will tell you when you have to take something off. Um, wow, same here. Mind at 10, but we definitely have to embrace it. Definitely, if you're talking about death or transformation, yes, we must embrace it as part of our lives, and we do come back. We come back in many forms, in many ways. Miss Sediti, OMG sister, sounds like something I'm going through. Tell me, what are you going through? Okay, I'm good. I know that I'm a little bit behind. Tangelia, still having trouble in my throat, working through finding my voice. Turquoise, azurite, lapis lazuli are going to be great stones for your throat. Because I'm always speaking, this is one of my main pieces. It looks a little raggedy right now. This is a 13, 13, the divine feminine, the number of death and rebirth, reincarnation, life. And it has turquoise all the way around, and carnelian. So I use this and I put it up high in my throat, and it helps me with my throat chakra. If I start to get a little bit hoarse, turquoise definitely helps. Yes, yes, my husband doesn't understand. Whew. Now, I'm going to talk about relationships with significant others and this transition. I'm going to keep it 100. There's a lot of people that are breaking up. There are a lot of people that are going their separate ways because two frequencies cannot exist in the same place at the same time. It's against the laws of physics. All the time I say that, I think about Lauryn Hill when she said two MCs can't exist in the okay, all right. So if you are riding in one frequency and your significant other is on a whole different frequency, you can't come together. You can't. It's not going to happen. It has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with, it has to do with being able to ride on the same wave. And if you're not, the universe is going to find a way. I mean, y'all can stay together, and I'm not telling you to break up with, I'm not telling anybody to break up with anyone. I'm talking about what happens with energy, and when we are not on the same frequency, what naturally happens is that we separate. We go to where we are aligned with, to where we feel in what we feel in harmony with. So if it doesn't get confronted and if you don't work on that, it's going to separate anyway. And so what I recommend to people that are going through challenges in their relationship, don't force the other person to try to see what it is that you're going through or to try to see what it is that you see, because a person that's not ready to see can't, and they won't. So the best that you could do is go into yourself, respect and honor his position wherever he's at, but continue to do your work. And as you do your work, you're going to gain the strength to be able to move and to be able to go in the direction that you need to go to. And if there needs to be a separation, if that's what's going to happen, it's going to be you'll be able to create that ease and that comfort in that separation, even though separation is never comfortable. But it's something that has to happen because we're living in a time where everything is going to where it's supposed to go. You know, there's some people that believe in a heaven and a hell. You die, you go to heaven or hell. Well, that heaven and hell is right here on earth. And in the year 2020, there's going to be more clarity where you're going to be able to see where those different places exist. There will be a so-called utopia that exists, and the only thing that's going to separate you from that space is yourself, your mind, the thoughts that you keep. What you vibrate is what puts you in or out of a situation. So if you are experiencing heaven, if you are vibrating that high energy, then your experience is going to be like you're in heaven. If you are experiencing and succumbing to low vibrations only, you are going to exist in a low vibrating space that's going to equate to like a hell. But it's all up to you, and you can't take anybody. Like, the people that are waiting on Jesus, they're going to be waiting for a long time because no one can save you from this. Only you can save yourself and move yourself in the direction that you need to move according to how you're vibrating. You can't front. You can't put on the mask and be like, oh, look, I got my furs and my gold and stuff, so I belong over here in this section. Your mind and your heart, your vibration is what's going to determine where it is that you belong and where it is that you're supposed to exist. That's just how the world is, and it has been that way. That's why you have the haves and the have-nots and all of these different groups of people that exist. They are existing because of collective consciousness that says this is what it is, and so they exist in that way. And a lot of our people, because we have poverty consciousness and we are in a low vibrating state, we continue to create those things that become our reality because it's what we believe in ourselves, in our soul. That's what we believe. So Mr. Diddy, sending love and high vibes to you and your husband, and know that if there is a separation, that doesn't mean it's permanent. Don't be afraid to, expand in your life and create that space for yourself, and I'm not even going to say, oh, if he loves you, he'll understand. If it is in his path to learn and know, he will. And you can be that teacher for him just by being. We can't teach people by telling them, look at this and look at this book and this person said. You can only teach by being an example of what it is that you believe, and that's the only way that people are going to pay attention to what it is that you're saying, is if you are living it, if you are that. But don't stress on it. Do not stress on it, because like I feel that like you don't want it to be over, and I don't think that he wants it to be over either, but something does have to happen. And don't rush him into understanding, and I hope that helps. Ache. Nagashi, you're such a great teacher. One great Orisha. Gracias, Nagashi. All thanks and all power and Ache to the ancestors that come and work through me. I'm glad that I was able to give you something that you needed to hear. Carl says, right balance isn't found, it is made. Ache. Orgonite, you say. I need it then. And that snail piece is magnificent. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This was something when I'm outside, things pop out at me. And then when I'm in a session, it's like, use it now, do this now. So that's what I do. And that's usually how my pieces come to life. Nova Moon, hola. What spell that I've I've never heard of that. Wait, spell that. Oh, what do you want me to spell? Spell. You talk about spells. We're spelling all the time. We're always throwing out spells and incantations. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nova Moon. She says they're beautiful. I love them. Gracias. I can feel the energy. So glad that you could feel it. Yes, a natural jeweler. That is what I am. And moving on to other things, uh, creating different things. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay. All right. I'm gonna be cutting it out very soon here. I believe that the brother Dark Lord has a broadcast either after this. I don't know if it was before this, but definitely check that out. And thank you all so much for embracing this information and embracing me. I have been on Facebook now for about 2 years, and I'm actually getting ready to depart Facebook. And it was funny because my last week was going to be last week, and then I came into this group and I showed something and I got so much response from you that I was like, all right, there's something that I need to do here and I need to stay a little bit longer. And so that's why I'm here. But I'm definitely going to be leaving Facebook. And it has to do, I don't know if you guys know, Facebook is FBI. I don't know if, I don't think that I'm spoiling that for anybody, but they're watching us. They're constantly watching us. And I'm not saying everybody leave, is not what I'm saying. I do what I'm supposed to do during my time when I'm called to do it. But I'm going to the next phase of what's happening. Creating these Orgone Energy self-healing centers is part of my life's mission and my life's work. So I have a lot to do. And I do have to stay kind of like, private, on the private level of things. And that's another thing that we're going to be teaching at the Healing Center, because a lot of people that are in this dimension now on this planet are enslaved, and they're enslaved through their birth certificates. They're enslaved through agreements that they did not make. And so we have to start gaining our freedom, and we have to start creating spaces for people to be able to come and learn the truth. And so I'm one of those people, and so I have to do my job. But I'm definitely connected to a lot of you here, and I'm definitely going to be reaching out, and I know a lot of you have been reaching out to me so that we can work on this project together. What it's called is the Cell Center, and Ache to Dr. Sabi. I'm definitely going to be paying homage to him with the center and the information that he has provided for us beings on the planet. And it's Community Enhancement Learning Life Center. And these centers are going to exist all over the world, and they're going to be based on ancestral information. We're working with the Navajos, we're working with indigenous people, we're working with aliens, if you want to keep it real. We're working with a lot of, with the Galactic Federation of People, and I can't mention a whole lot of it here, but as I connect with those people that are going to be part of it, I'm going to be traveling, my team and I are going to be traveling all of this year, connecting face to face with the people that are going to be part of this vision, so that we can tell you what the details are and what it takes and all of the different things. Everything is completely funded, so this is not a situation where we're asking anybody to pay anything or to do this so that they could be a part of it. In order for you to be a part of it, you have to have passion. You have to have your mind and heart in the right place, and you have to have something that you can offer the planet to help raise the vibration of the planet. So So although I'm going to be needing orgone engineers, that's not all we're going to be needing. I'm working with masters. I'm working with copper masters, metal masters. I'm working with witches and priestesses and, all kinds of different energies that are here and in the physical, and energies that are in other realms. And so this is a huge, huge thing that's taken place, and it's going to take us some years. We have a 20-year commitment for this project. So you guys in this group will definitely be getting information on what that is. I will be in contact with the Dark Lord. So I'll be able to share the information that I need to pass on through him or through other people that are in this group that want to be a part of what is happening. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more and just see Wallace. Hola, Wallace. It will reject those on the frequency. I think you're talking about the not on the frequency, not on the frequency. I think you're talking about the orgone, and I know that I'm a little late. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Quaniel says, I tell my children they don't need any outside force. It's all within them. Thank you that I just told them that. That's very important. Tomorrow, I have a study group. We meet every Friday. If you're interested in being part of that group, you can inbox me. But it's the Master Vibration group where we teach about self-healing. There's a lot of, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about gurus, religion, and the matrix, because there's a lot of people that, they substitute one thing for another. So it's like, oh, I'm not Christian anymore and I'm not doing the whole Jesus thing. But then they find another person and they create a guru, or they idolize them and they do these things. And it's really important for you to be able to bring that energy back to yourself. You are the master. I, self, law, and master. You are that master. And so I know that with me, I'm from the islands. I'm from Puerto Rico. So on the islands, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Haiti, there's the spiritual aspect is very strong, and there is Ifa, there's Santeria. The Orishas are very, very powerful, and they are so powerful that even, when you are connected, they're going to come and they're going to ask for you. They're going to summons you, and they had been summoning me for a very long time. And me being who I am, I'd be like, I ain't working with nobody. I ain't worshiping nobody. I ain't going to do, no. And so I had to come to a point where I was able to find balance in that and be able to communicate with them. So I made an agreement with the Orishas, with my spiritual father, Obatala, and I agreed to create orgone energy devices that encompass the energy of Oshun, Jemaja, Elegua, Chango, all of these are going to be created in the big giant pyramid that I showed you. I'm making one for each of them, and those are going to exist at the Orgone Energy Self-Healing Center, at the Cell Center, and there are going to be master teachers that are going to be coming to teach about the science and the rituals and all of this information that we have to offer. So that is my way of giving back and working with the Orishas without having myself be consumed. I grew up with that. So my uncle and other family members that I had, their lives turned completely into what the Orishas wanted them to do, and so they kind of became a little bit kind of like a slave to these masters. And so I appreciate that, and I respect everybody's journey, but in my path, I am the master, and I'm not doing that. I will help, I will assist, but ain't nobody taking this over. I got this. So, and thank Most High that I was born with that kind of energy, because there has been lots of energies that have come to have me to work with them. And, partially it was before because of fear, but now I have no fear of that. So now it's just more of me commanding my space and knowing what it is that I'm supposed to do. And the ancestors, it's ancestors known and unknown, and there are legions of them. It's thousands and hundreds and millions and billions of them. So it's a matter of how it is that you want to connect. Ms. Sadidi says, wow, I'm so attracted to bees and what they represent. That is because you are a divine feminine goddess. That it is a power. And when you're connected to insects and you're connected to certain symbolisms, it is important to research them, because this is how the spirit talks to us. This is how ancestors talk to us. They talk to us in dreams. They talk to us through symbolism. Symbology runs the world. So I don't refer a lot of books, and I don't have a whole lot of books and stuff, but I will definitely recommend this book right here. This is it's backwards, but it's The Book of Stones, Who Are They and What They Teach. And there's another book that is called the Encyclopedia of Symbolism, because once you know what the symbols mean, you will go out into the world and you will know everything that people are saying, the things that they try to say in secret, the handshakes and the symbols and the words that they use and what they wear. All of that means something. Everything means something, just like the number 13. Why do you think they made us scared of the 13? Because they don't want people using the number 13 because of its power. But they use it. If you go to any corporation and you see how they're structured, 13 people on the boards, 13 people, with Jesus and his disciple was 13. The McDonald's, they use the number 13 right there in their logo. Power, there is power in symbols. And the greatest thing about the symbology is that when it's a symbol, is the energy of that symbol. So the word there, it's not a word, it is a symbol, an energy that comes out of that symbol. So it's a lot clearer when you're using symbols than when you're using words, because words, I mean, this language is all jacked up anyway, so you don't really want to rely on the English language at all. And to do your spells and do all of those things, symbols are great to use so that you can make your stuff happen. Curtis, thank you. You're very welcome. Morris, heaven and hell is what an individual makes it. Ache, that is the truth. This broadcast is confirmation for me. I am so happy that you are getting confirmation. Curtis says, I was brought here to hear that message about relationship. I'm so glad, and sending love and high vibes to your relationships. Here's another thing I want to say about relationships. Every relationship that you have is necessary. Like, there is no wrong relationship. I don't care how jacked up the relationship is. The relationship there is there to serve your evolution. You know, and people have this idea that people are supposed to be together forever, and oh, the love of my life and my true love and my twin flame, and we're going to be together forever and ever. No, relationships are for a time, a season, or in a reason. And we have many of them. And so it is important to be able to be in the relationship that you're existing in and be present and full in that relationship for whatever it is, so that you can know when it's time to go and it's time to separate, then that's what has to happen. You can't be attached to the idea that a relationship, because you got married, and I ain't even gonna start on marriage, but marriage is a spell and it's a curse. And marriage is a way that this corporation has made it so that they can get into your pocket more. So they've taken away all of the reasoning or the emotion or the real reason for a unification, and they created this marriage, the ball and chain, all of these different things that go in there. Marriage is in the heart, and when you connect to somebody, that connection is a solid connection that only could be defined by you and can only be separated by you. So relationships, I had a whole I'm not even going to get into that. It goes so deep in relationship, but you know, the relationships that you're in now, they're the ones that you're supposed to be in. And if you are not in one, then it means that you're supposed to be in one with yourself. That is the most important one, because if the one with yourself ain't good, none of them are going to work. Not with your mama, not with your sister, not with your kids, none of them. Lydia, your energy is lit. Gracias, gracias, gracias. Thank you all so much. I don't think we have any more questions. Hola, Alicia. I don't know if you're still here, Alicia Monet. Información. Yes, how will we reach you? You can connect with me. I'm going to give you my direct number where you can connect with me. I give it out all the time because I trust that nobody's going to call me on no bullshit. So I'm going to give you my number. It is 818-233-5776. That is 818-233-5776. A quicker way also is to inbox me here on Facebook. You can inbox me. I always answer all of my inboxes. Tangelia says the revolution will not be televised. Oh no. And the revolution is happening. It's happening now, and it's happening inside of us. And it is exciting. I know there's a lot of people are feeling, you know, it's a lot of shit going on, but there must be death for rebirth. There, everything has to fall so that we could rebuild. And all of this shit that exists ain't never been good for us, no way, ever. We have been used and abused, and that time is done. It's over. And you just have to claim it. And you can't be, I mean, life goes on, and it just goes on and on and on. And this is our time. These next 100 years, these next 100 years is about to be on point. Your pieces are amazing. How can you be reached? You can reach me at 818-233-5776. Once again, I work with people according to their energy. Each of my pieces are one of a kind, and all of the donations that are given to this project goes directly to the cell centers. So everything that comes in, all of the funds that have ever come in through the work that I do has been and will be for the healing center. So thank you so much. Peace to you, Greg. Your heart is racing. That's a good thing. Oh, and well, I'm going to tell you guys one more thing, but I want to inbox you. Yes, please inbox me. You're very welcome, Delia. Thank you so much for being here. Gracias, Nova Moon. You guys warm my heart, because let me just tell you something. This has been a very solo and intimate journey. I have always been what people call a social butterfly. I had to close the door on everything and everyone. I had to do my work. Even my partner, of 26 years, all of that had to be shut down so that I could do my work. Sex, and I talk about sexual energy a lot because it's very important. Your sexual energy is your power. And when you're giving it away to people, you are infecting yourself. And you are, and I mean, I'm not really going to get into all of that here right now because that's a very, very long thing. But you have to stop giving away your power. And I learned that because when I was separated, I had to deal with my sexual energy. What do I do with it? What do I do when I want to have sex? And it wasn't an option for me to just go and have sex with somebody. So I had to work with that energy. And it was the best thing that I've ever done in my life because it showed me how to work with sexual energy and the things that I can do with it. And you can literally take your energy when you're feeling like you want to have sex, you feeling horny, you feeling like you got to get it in. That is the universe telling you it's time for you to create. So there is a way for you to take that energy and lift that energy up through your chakras, put your intention, put that energy what it is that you intend, and you can manifest it just like that. It takes practice. I ain't gonna lie. You do got to practice it. And when you're in a union with somebody, the sexual energy between man and woman is magic. I mean, look at what we create in that sexual energy. So when you have two complete beings that recognize their power and know who they are, when they come together, they create magic. Sex goddesses. That is what we would do. Sex goddesses would be with other magicians. And I'm going to give you a good example. Mary Magdalene was a sex goddess and Jesus was a magician. And so she kept him ready for his path, for his journey, what it was that he had to do, all of the things that he had to endure. He was able to do that because Mary Magdalene was right there giving him that energy and helping him, get through what he needed to get through. And all of those miracles and all of that stuff that he did, it came through the power of the sexual energy. And that could not have been done without the Mary Magdalene. And there's lots of sex goddesses, Lilith and Oshun and Jemajan. There's lots and lots of them. And if you really start looking for the research, and all of the cultures have them, they're called different names, but for me, everything is energy. So I associate everything to its energy. But the energy of the sex goddess is very real. And so these sex goddesses would come together with these magicians, and a sex master, a sex god. It's not like a lot of men think, oh, sex god, I know how to lay this pipe and I know how to make her orgasm, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not just about that. You have to be able to bring up energy of the female. You have to be able to light up every single energy center that she has, and you have to be able to control yourself. You have to be able to know your own body and know how to stimulate and arouse her to the point of creation. So, and that's something that takes a lot of work, and everyone can't do that. It has nothing to do with your machoism or anything like that. It has to do with study and practice and a calling for doing this work. You can't be a sex goddess just because, oh, I'm cute and I know how to have sex and my yoni is really good, so I know I'm a sex goddess. No, you have to know the work. You have to know what it means, and you have to know how to utilize that energy. And a sex goddess can create without a partner, just like a sex god can create without a partner. But when we come together, that's when we really can create worlds and empires. So it's really very important to go into the study of that. And like I said, no books really that I could recommend. There is one book that I could recommend though. Sexual Secrets by Nicholas Douglas and Penny Slinger. This book is just going to give you information on sexual secrets in all cultures, which is just confirmation so that when you come with this information and you take it into your meditation, into your rituals, that you're going to be able to say, what is the truth? Where is this coming from? And you'll be able to get some confirmation. But all the information is going to come within you. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for spending your time with me. Thank you so much, Dark Lord, for letting me have this platform today. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you that have been in support of me. Sabrina, Odin, thanks, sis, for the info. I'm so grateful for you sharing with us. I am grateful for being able to share with you guys. I am getting your energy, and I feel it. Thank you for the loves and all of the thumbs up. I love you all. OMG, exactly what I'm going through. Again, girl, that sexual energy, when you really get to control it. And for the men, ejaculation, being able to experience an orgasm for 5-6 hours, that's what's up. That's where it's at. And you can do that, but it takes practice. And I'm not gonna go into any of that anymore. If you were interested in coming to my Friday Master Vibration study group, you can inbox me. And once again, thank you all so much. I'm gonna leave. Let me see. Did I show you guys everything? I think I showed you guys everything. I showed you guys my phallus. I showed you guys my super wands. I showed you guys my pyramids. This one is my favorite. That's why I show it, because it's my favorite. And I appreciate you all very much. Muchas gracias. Que tengan buenas noches.